Hey guys, welcome back to Steel City Sports. So today I'm going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers first round pick, Derrick Harmon. I do plan on eventually reviewing the entire first round of the draft, but today's video is strictly about what the Steelers did in the first round, drafting Derrick Harmon 21st overall. So if you saw my post last night, I was really frustrated by this pick, and I actually planned to do a video right after the pick and break it down. I actually filmed me live watching the draft. I was going to post a reaction live, but I was so deflated when the pick came in, and I'm going to really explain to you why I did not like this pick. So they take Derrick Harmon, and this is nothing against Derrick Harmon. I'm sure he's going to be a good player with us, got all kinds of upside. That's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Steelers management's philosophy behind this pick and why I think it's so flawed. Because when you're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think the most valuable thing on the team is their defensive line. You know, all of our production really comes from defensive line. And instead of addressing offense and addressing quarterback, which is obviously the most important position, they double down on D-line, a thing that the Steelers are already really deep on and is probably our best unit. And to me, really signifies how outdated the thinking is behind the Steelers, you know, because last year the Steelers spent the most money on defense out of all 32 teams in the National Football League. The Steelers were number one in defensive spending, and it didn't fucking matter, you know, especially when you look in division. Guys like Lamar and Burrow fucking carved us apart. It didn't matter, you know. You would think if you're spending the most on defense, you'd have the best defense. No, our defense was pretty mid of the pack, pretty mediocre, you know, not a whole lot of special there. So this philosophy thinking it's 1982, if we just throw money on defense and kind of shrug our shoulders at the quarterback position, that's the fucking reason why the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in almost a decade, is that kind of thinking. This outdated 1984 philosophy of building a football team. That's why the Steelers have become just the absolute symbol of mediocrity. And that's why this pick pissed me off so bad, because we're yet again just kicking the can on the quarterback situation. And I'm not even saying it had to be Shedeur Sanders. Jackson Dart was available as well. I would have been fine with Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders. Jackson Dart went 4 picks after this to the New York Giants, which I think was honestly one of the biggest steals of the draft, because to trade up for Jackson Dart, they didn't really have to give up a whole lot. So it's really, really frustrating because we already spend so much on defense and it doesn't really matter. You know, our defense doesn't really do anything. And you look around in our division with guys like Lamar and Burrow always carving us up. We need to be able to compete with those guys. And the way to do that is not throwing money at defense, evidently not. You know, like all of our blue chip players, all of our money is on defense. You know, TJ Watt, Patrick Queen, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward. All these guys are like the biggest salaries on the team, and our defense is pedestrian at best. So that's why this pick pissed me off so bad. And even if the Steelers do eventually land Aaron Rodgers, I still think this was a big mistake, because it feels like the Steelers doing the same thing year in, year out, what they've done since Big Ben retired, and that is trying to just throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks. That's what they did with Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and bringing Aaron in for a year I don't think would be a good idea. He's old, injury prone, he's a diva. I don't think he really cares about football too much. I think he, at least at this point, obviously when he was in his prime, he loved it. At this point, I don't think he really loves football. I think he loves himself. He likes the spotlight and the money that football brings him, but I don't really think he's in love. He's not hungry to, be dominant. I think drafting like a Shedeur or a Jackson Dart with this pick would have been a good sign that, hey, we value the quarterback position. We want a young guy to build this football team around, as opposed to let's just bring in a Band-Aid, a 40-year-old Band-Aid who's old, injury-prone, doesn't really seem to care too much about football, and has been a headache for the longest time. It's annoying to me. And like I said, Derrick Harmon could be a great player. We didn't need defensive line. If you're ranking out the needs of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think defensive line would quite frankly be last on that list. So for them to go with that, to continue this philosophy of defense wins championships is just simply not fucking true. And I get it. You can point to the Eagles, their defensive line, a big reason why they won that game. Their defensive line was dominating. But they also spent a lot of fucking money on offense as well. You know, best O-line, top-end quarterback, best receiver tandem in the league, Saquon fucking Barkley. I get it. You got to build through the trenches. Everyone likes to throw that out there. But none of that fucking matters if you don't have a quarterback. And for them to pass on the chance to really develop a young guy, to me, I think it stems from the fact that this team cannot develop a quarterback. We were lucky Big Ben fell into our laps. It's frustrating, you know, and let's say they don't bring in Aaron, then the DK Metcalf contract is one of the most idiotic things ever, because to bring in a $33 million receiver per year and have a $4 million quarterback and Mason Rudolph throwing him the ball is a fucking joke. And I think that if we do roll into next year with Mason as the starter, that's going to be a sign of they really just brought DK in for the headlines, because it would make zero sense to have a $33 million receiver on this team whenever you've done nothing with the quarterback position. So that's kind of where I'm at with this pick. It's nothing against Derrick Harmon. I think he's going to be a really good player with the Steelers. It's just we didn't really need him. We had so much bigger areas of concern. Even if you would have went with a running back, I would have been happy. Like O'Murray and Hampton, I would have liked that pick a lot more, because at least you're looking at the offensive side of the ball. So that's where I'm at with this. Like I said, I will be reviewing the first round in its entirety in the next couple days here. So let me know what you guys thought about this pick, and where do you think Shedeur is eventually going to land. Maybe we'll see today. So if you made it this far in the video, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe.